Okay, good evening everyone. Welcome to this ordinary meeting of the Town Council's Planning and Transportation Committee. This meeting will be held under the regulations allowing local authorities to meet formally using remote technology. It is being streamed live and is available to view on our website. It is important for everyone participating in this meeting to please keep their microphones muted when they aren't speaking in order to reduce disruption from background noise. Throughout the meeting, councillors should have the chat window open, as this will help you to indicate when you wish to speak or if you have to leave the meeting. And then when your name is called, you will need to unmute your microphone and wait for the word live and the red line to appear around your screen. Please ensure you speak clearly. Most decisions will be made by the general assent of those present. However, if a vote is required, each councillor's name will be read out by the Assistant Town Clerk and you'll be asked to state whether you are for, against, or whether you are abstaining. If at any time the Town Council's technology fails and we need to adjourn the meeting for a short period, I will confirm this and ask all those present to turn their cameras off and mute their microphones while the problem is rectified. I will then confirm when the meeting resumes. We can only monitor the technology at our end and cannot halt the meeting if a member of the press or public experiences technology issues. I will ask now the Town Clerk to carry out the roll call of councillors to confirm you are present. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Buckland, I think he's still experiencing technical difficulties. Councillor Chase.
Present.
Councillor Long.
Present.
Councillor Rhodes.
Present.
Councillor Tandy.
Present.
Councillor Turner.
Present.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. On with the agenda. So item 1 is mobile phones. As stated, members are reminded to please switch their mobile phones to silent for the duration of the meeting. Item 2 is apologies. I'll ask the Assistant Town Clerk to read out the names of any councillors who have sent their apologies.
Just Councillor Buckland, Chair, is experiencing technical issues and may join the meeting later if he's able.
Thank you. Item 3 is the declarations of interest. So the standing declarations on the agenda are noted and members and officers are reminded to make any other declarations if they become apparent either at the appropriate time during the meeting or now. Are there any declarations that need to be made now? There being none forthcoming, if any do become apparent, they will be declared as and when. Item 4 is the minutes. The minutes of the meeting held on the 1st of February 2021 have been circulated and form pages 4 to 10 of the agenda pack. So can I ask firstly that everyone is happy that they be approved as a correct record and that they be signed at a later date when circumstances allow?
Yes. Yes, that's fine.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I will take that as general assent. Item 5 is Chair's report on urgent items. There is one urgent item, I believe, and I will hand over to the Assistant Town Clerk.
Thank you, Chair. Emily's just displaying the details of this. It's a traffic regulation order that's been sent to us after the agenda was dispatched by West Sussex County Council, and this is to introduce traffic control in Courtwick Lane and some roads off Courtwick Lane. What they're proposing are single yellow lines on both sides of Courtwick Lane between its junction with Seaton Park and Goldcrest Avenue. On Courtwick Lane itself, they're going to introduce double yellow lines on the north side, and these are really to prevent parking and give some control in the area. The order explains in the statement of reasons that there have been a number of issues regarding parking obstructing traffic in these areas and potentially causing accidents. So they wish to introduce these orders. The red marks there are where the lines are proposed. And further down, there's also a blue line that will show Courtwick Lane and where the double yellow lines are proposed. Open to members for comment, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or observations on these? Oh, it's a very helpful new feature that it tells you who's typing. Councillor Long.
Changes every time we have a meeting. I am aware that parking in these areas, it's been an ongoing problem for an awfully long time. I think it's a good idea in the longer term. Will it be necessary? I'm not sure, but at the moment, if it helps the situation, increases safety and stops these potential accidents happening, then I think it's a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Chairman. I use Courtwick Lane quite a lot myself because I cycle down there. I come out of the back of Kingley Gate and cycle down there, and I know where there's cars parked along the left-hand side as you're approaching the main road. What happens is that when the level crossing gates are down, the traffic's queued so far back to the roundabout, and then where you've got cars parked on the left-hand side of Courtwick Lane, cars coming up Courtwick Lane then pull over to the right hand side, and then they're blocking the road completely. So I think it's a really good idea that to introduce some double yellow lines along there, but I think they need to go a bit further back. You know, where it says no waiting at any time at the entrance to Courtwick Lane. Can the double yellow lines not go further down there?
Emily, have you got the picture that shows Courtwick Lane itself?
So I don't know if I'm right by thinking just the red shaded area was where the double yellows were going to be.
Yeah. Oh. There we are. That's Courtwick Lane, isn't it?
All right. So
yeah.
Oh,
it's just going to be on one side.
It will be on one side?
Yes, yeah. Double yellow lines on the north side of Courtwick Lane.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then that still means that traffic coming along Courtwick Lane towards the main road is going to be driving on the right-hand side to pass the, oh, so sorry, no, they're going to be on the left-hand side, aren't they? They're going to be on the right side of the road. But will there not be double yellows on the other side of the road then?
They're not proposed, no.
Well, that's not really going to help matters because the cars will just park on the other side and then vehicles still won't be able to get through. Because that's the problem there, that cars back up, and a lot of people actually go down New Courtwick Lane as a rat run to avoid the Morrison's roundabout.
Okay.
I think we need them on both sides.
Both sides?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think the view therefore is we welcome the first steps, but it's not going to solve the problem. So more to be done. I wonder if we could, I'm assuming we have a consultation response.
Yes, we do. Yes.
Could we mention that as they, well, I accept it's a few years away, but as they progress work towards the improvements between Littlehampton and Bognor, that they need to probably review these in light of the changes. Councillor Turner.
I have to say I agree with Councillor Rhodes that I think they need to go further back as well. So not just on both sides, but actually further back.
Okay.
That would be my view. Thank you.
Perfect. So we will formulate that into a response and submit it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Chair. That's noted.
Item 6 is the public forum. So in accordance with the remote meetings protocol, which has been introduced by the Town Council, any member of the public who wishes to address the council or any of its committees should have emailed us one clear day before the meeting. We've received one representation that the Assistant Town Clerk will read out, I believe.
Thank you, Chair. Mr Chester asked the committee, he states, many families have moved into Hampton Park in North Littlehampton, and for them it is home rather than just a huge construction site. When will the first of the recreation and play areas be available for them to use? In response, we would say, in thanking Mr Chester for his question, we should point out that the Town Council is not responsible for the provision of these facilities. The recreation and play areas that are planned are provided by the developers, who will be working with the District Council as both the local planning authority and the authority who will be taking responsibility for the facilities once they're completed. With Mr Chester's permission, we will therefore forward his question to the District Council Chair, asking them to respond.
Thank you. So that is, yeah, that's going to the District Council. Lovely. Item 7 is planning and other Arundel District Council matters. And we begin with 7.1, which is planning applications, and these begin on page 11 of the agenda pack, and I will hand over to the Assistant Town Clerk to take us through each one.
Thank you, Chair. The first application on the list this evening is reference LU 3021, and that's a certificate of lawful development, which is sought in connection with flat 2 at 31 South Terrace. This is a retrospective application seeking formal approval for a change to the flat there, which was converted from a 1-bedroom flat into a studio flat. In all the cases this evening, there are no comments from residents, so open it to members for comment, Chair.
Well, I will start by my common theme of it looks very small, and I'm not convinced it's meeting space standards, but whether that's acceptable on a lawful development certificate, I'm not sure. Councillor Long.
Thank you, Chairman. I agree with what you've said. It does look very small. Reading through the paperwork, I wasn't sure what we were actually being asked to comment on. I rather felt we were sort of between a rock and a hard place. That this was something that was done, I think it was in 2010.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not necessarily with the agreement of the freeholder, and now they're asking to give retrospective planning permission for something that one of the writers of these reports said, well, it wasn't structural change, it was just moving a stud wall. And I, as I say, I really wasn't sure what we were being asked to say. And I can only express my confusion, to be perfectly honest. Is it a decision that we can make? It seemed to be almost a legal issue rather than a planning issue, if that makes sense. Sorry, can't be any clearer than that. My apologies.
Then we have Councillor Turner, please.
Thank you, Chair. My understanding of it when I was reading the paperwork was that this was had been a 1-bedroom place, and they've taken down the dividing wall, which was just almost like a temporary wall that wasn't part of the structure. So I think space-wise, I don't think it counts, because it's no bigger or smaller than it was before the wall was taken down. In fact, it's probably bigger. So I was also a little bit confused, like Councillor Long, as to just what we were being asked to approve. But it seems that the owners are trying to sell it, and they require the certificate to be able to sell it on. So it's not anything that they're asking to be done. It's just so that they can sell it and make it legal, basically. Other than that, I was just as confused as Councillor Long. Thank you.
Right. Well, on the basis that I think what I'm hearing is everyone's a bit confused, I'm thinking that we're probably going to make no. I mean, it might not even be no objection because there is an option of no comment, I believe. The Assistant Town Clerk will tell me.
No, it's a no objection, objection or support, Chair.
Okay. I mean, I think it probably has to be no objection on the count. Leave it to the professionals to work out. I'm not hearing any counter.
Pass the buck on that one.
I'd go along with that.
Yeah, so abstain isn't an option in this case.
I mean, presumably we could just not put any comment, but
Yeah. I mean, councillors are right, Chair. It's a retrospective application, so I don't know what would happen, but it is treated as a planning matter.
yeah.
Every comment that's been made is exactly right. But those are the options: object, no objection, or support.
Okay. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you. I don't think that we should just approve something just because the work's already been done. I'm really against these retrospective plans because they've obviously done it in the first place, knowing that it shouldn't really be happening if they were doing it without permission. And it just leaves the door wide open for other people to be doing the same. Thank you.
Right. So, would anyone like to propose the step forward or next steps? Because so the options are object, no object, or support. And I think I can discount one of them. But...
If I may, Chair.
Councillor Long.
Thank you. And I think on the basis of, I agree with what Councillor Rose has just said, and it summed my feelings up that this was something that was done without the correct permissions, and I don't see why we should support it now. So my feeling would be to object, if that helps.
Yes, and then my next question is going to be, on what grounds are we objecting someone?
Well,
So I don't. Well, I'll have to be guided by the Assistant Town Clerk, but I'm not convinced it being retrospective is a sufficient planning reason.
Not that it's retrospective, no. Affects the development and setting of a listed building. That's probably as close as I could get in terms of a planning objection. And if you wanted to use that and it sets a precedent.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to get any stronger, but it's weak, but it's put our stamps on it.
Okay, is everyone happy with that?
Impact on a listed building and sets a precedent.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think
I'm happy with that.
yeah, as I say, it's been done without any permissions, and planning guidance and rules are there for a reason.
Okay. I have that as an objection, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next application on your list this evening is reference LU 1221 PL, and this is a change of use request, and it's a ground floor at 47 Horsham Road, converting to a beauty salon. There's no residents' comments on the website, but Environmental Health have commented and recommended some conditions accompanying the application to ameliorate the impact on the amenity of nearby residents.
Okay, opening up, starting with Councillor Chase.
Yeah, I don't have any objection with this one. The building is already, well, the front of the building is already a hairdresser's, so it's just extending the business really. And with the district's view on it, with conditions to be put in place, I'm quite happy to go along with those.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? Councillor Long.
Thank you, Chairman. I agree with Councillor Chase. It's good to see a new business developing, and it makes sort of sense in terms of it being adjacent to the hairdresser. And I agree, you know, obviously with the environmental health conditions or suggestions of conditions about sound insulation and the opening hours. So I'm happy with that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And all I will say is it is part of one of the protected local centres in the neighbourhood plan. So I'm going to propose, based on what Councillor Long and Councillor Chase have said, is the committee willing to put in a support of this application?
Correct.
Yes.
Agreed.
Perfect. So that application is supported.
Thank you, Chair. Next on your list, members, is planning application reference LU 2621, another lawful development certificate request, and this is in respect of solar panels to be installed at 7 Foxglove Way in Littlehampton.
Thank you. Any comments on solar panels? Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you. I fully support this. I think we should all be supporting solar panels as the perfect way for the environment, and we should be doing all we can. And I think this is an excellent idea. I think more houses should be actually built with them to start with, rather than people having to install them. Thank you.
Thank you. And then to Councillor Turner, please.
I agree with Councillor Rhodes there. Thank you, Chair. It should be compulsory for developers to install solar panels, and it shouldn't be left to householders to have to install them afterwards. So I've got no objection to this at all, and I think it's very good, and everybody should be encouraged to have them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So definitely no objection, but I've heard the word support mentioned, so I'm going to open it up to the committee. No objection or support?
I would support.
I support.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, okay, support.
Oh, wonderful. We're in a very supportive mood tonight.
Thank you, Chair. The next on the list is reference LU 3221HH, and this is at 80 Beaumont Park, and this is to put a 2-storey extension on the property and extend an existing single-storey extension requiring the demolition of a garage. That's a corner plot where they're obviously reconfiguring the internal space and extending the property.
Thank you. Any comments on 80 Beaumont Park? Councillor Long.
Thank you, Chairman. Then they're going to knock down the garage, and that will then be replaced by an integral storage area, not a garage, but a storage area within the proposed development. I hope that doesn't damage next door's garage, because they are joined, or appear to be joined. It just looked very large, and I wonder if it's overdevelopment. It will make the house considerably larger, and that was my concern. Yeah, I just felt it's rather large. I mean, there is a side extension at the moment, and it will replace all of that and go out further. As I say, it replaces the garage and so on. I simply felt it was a bit too much. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? There being none, I'm going to put to the committee whether they would like to object or no object.
No objection.
I'm on my own, obviously.
No objection from me either, sorry.
No, me. Sorry, Jill.
Okay, so I'm taking that therefore as general assent of no objection. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Chair. Next, also in Beaumont Park at number 11, reference LU 3621HH, and this is a first floor extension. And they're just reconfiguring the upstairs space there and taking the existing out to the back.
Okay. Any comments on 11 Beaumont Park? Councillor Long.
Thank you, Chairman. Looking on Google Earth, because it's the easiest way for me to do some of this, neighbours have already done this. I think there were 3 that I could see in close proximity to this, so it's a way of making the kitchen larger and upstairs. I have no objection to it. Thank you.
Thank you. No other comments forthcoming, so is everyone happy with no objection?
Yes, no objection.
No objection.
Happy with that.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Chair. Next on the list is reference LU 2921HH. This is at 36 Southfields Road, and this is a single-storey ground floor rear extension to provide infill on the existing building and the installation of a glass roof on the main house corridor.
Any views, comments on a glass roof?
No problem with that.
Councillor Long.
Thank you, Chairman. Glass roof, my goodness. I don't have any planning objections, but isn't that going to make it really, really hot? And I do have safety concerns, but as I say, they're not planning grounds. They're more to do with building regulations, and I'm sure they will be addressed appropriately. I don't have any planning objections, I don't think. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we go to Councillor Turner, please.
I was a bit confused at first as to just what bit it was that on the plans that they were talking about extending, and then eventually the penny dropped and I worked it out. A glass roof nowadays, they would generally be shatterproof and breakable and very, very strong, and also they can be heat resistant as well. So I understand Councillor Long's concern, but I think nowadays the glass that they use is very good, and that would be down to building regulations. So on the whole, I've got no objection to this. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think I'm proposing no objection to the committee.
No, no objection.
Objection.
No objection.
No objection.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Chair. Turning over the page on your agendas to page 12, members, and got planning application 4221 PL, which is at the Riverside Industrial Estate on Bridge Road, and that is to construct a new industrial unit there with associated facilities, parking, landscaping. Again, there's no comments on the website, and there's an extensive planning application together with a design access and planning statement.
I have Councillor Turner first.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Is this a development company that is developing it and building it, or is it a company that has a business in mind that they're building it for themselves to open? I was a bit confused about that. I just wanted a bit of clarification on that. On the whole, I've got no objection to it. I think it's good if they're going to be opening businesses. Thank you.
I don't know the answer to that question.
I think it's the
I think it's the owner.
holders, yeah, of the industrial estate itself that are expanding. It's there's obviously the demand, which is, as Councillor Turner said, good for the area.
Yeah,
that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Long.
Thank you. Yeah, it does say within the many pages that of information that accompany this application that it isn't being built for anybody in particular. It doesn't have a, what did they call it, an end customer in mind. It will use up quite a lot of the parking spaces, but apparently they are not regularly used anyway. So in effect, it's making better use of that space. I think it's a good idea if it's indicative that Littlehampton is attracting outside interest in terms of business. That's good. They do say that the impact of traffic will be negligible. Well, surely until they know who's going to take it on, how can they tell? What if Amazon or somebody like that, a regular delivery service, took it on as a warehouse? Not that I'm not knocking Amazon at all, but for them to say that there'll be negligible increase in traffic, I think a bit tricky. But I'm pleased to see that people are willing to invest in this way in our town, and I have no objections other than the possibility of a bit more traffic. Thank you.
Thank you. So again, there is two options, I think, here. There's either no objection, or if members are minded to welcome it, they could support. So any steer would be welcome.
I would
I have no
support it.
objection.
I would support.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, I think we're edging to support there, so that's
Yeah.
Thank you, that's noted. And finally, on this page, planning application reference LU 4021 at number 1 Rosemead, And again, that's a lawful development certificate for a ground floor extension. Looks like the, oh no, there it is. Lovely, thanks, Emily.
Okay, any comment on this one? Councillor Long, please.
Thank you, Chairman. They want to enlarge their kitchen. They've got the space to do it. That's absolutely fine. I don't have a problem with it at all. Thank you.
Wonderful. No one else wishes to talk. So is that no objection? Happy from the committee?
No objection.
Yeah, no objection.
Yeah, no objection.
Wonderful. That concludes the planning lists. Right, moving on. Item 8 is transportation and other West Sussex County Council matters. 8.1 is the Arundel to Ford Station cycle path and footpath. And I'll hand over to the Assistant Town Clerk to explain.
Okay, so members will have received in their packs a request for support from Arundel Town Council, who are looking to progress a cycle and footpath between Arundel and Ford Station. The letter that's with your papers from the Mayor of Arundel is self-explanatory, and within that there were details of those who have already indicated their support for the proposal, and also details of a cycle study that they had completed, obviously aiming to build support and a business case for this route. Hopefully members would have taken the opportunity to read that, and the committee is asked to consider whether or not it wishes to express support for this particular initiative.
Councillor Rhodes, please.
Thank you. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, right. Sorry. Thank you. As a keen cyclist myself, I had a really good look at the report that was sent through, and where the accidents are numbered in there. Well, I used to live in Ford, so I witnessed a lot of accidents along that road, and I know for sure that most of them are not reported, so that's not even the half of it. So I do support this pedestrian and cycle path. However, wouldn't it be wise that while we're at that to actually link it up to the 259, to the cycle path along there? It just seems crazy to leave this bit in the middle left out. So that could be noted. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Chase.
Yeah, just to say now I wholeheartedly agree with Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you very much. And then Councillor Turner.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. I think this is long overdue, this footpath and cycleway. The road is dire for pedestrians and cyclists alike. But I agree with Councillor Rhodes that it should link up to the Littlehampton cycle pedestrian way on the 259. and I would be wholeheartedly in support of them extending it. But certainly the Ford to Arundel is a definite yes from me. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Councillor Rhodes. No, Councillor Long, sorry. Got too many things open.
Yeah, we don't look alike at all. Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, I support this. I then immediately start thinking about practicalities, like how much is it going to cost, who's going to pay for it, who owns the land that they intend to put it on, and things like this. If those minor details can be overcome, then I'm sure it would be a good idea. We're always being encouraged, and in fact investing in providing cycle paths and so on. If it gets people off footpaths on their bikes, that would be good. But I mean, there is no path along there, and it is a horrific road for cyclists. So yeah, I would support it.
Thank you. It does mention in the report, I think, that I read, that there is a lot of SIL money available from some of the developments along Ford Road.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Right. Well, on the consent that everyone has spoken unanimously against it, I'm taking it we are in favour of supporting the proposal. I'm not sure, Jules, about how is it from mayor to mayor. So does it need to be for the mayor to write back, or do we write back as a committee?
As chair of the committee, that would be fine, Chair. We could link it to previous response on similar matters where the council has asked for and expressed support for any other initiatives that would produce improved transport methods for walking, cyclists, etc., all the way through from Littlehampton and beyond.
Perfect. So we'll pick up about the linking it down to Littlehampton as well.
Yeah.
Excellent. Is everyone happy with that?
Yes,
Happy with that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wonderful. So we will sort that out. Item 9 is priorities. The report is on pages 17 to 18, and again I will hand over to the Assistant Town Clerk to summarise.
Thank you, Chair. So members, on page 17 of your papers going over to 18, for every committee in the March cycle, we are bringing forward this review of the priorities as they relate to the remit of each committee. So in terms of this particular committee, there are two key priorities to have a look at. The first related to the community infrastructure levy. The introduction of that is outside our control, but that is a means of obtaining funds on developments which are specified as being SIL liable within the local plan. The system that's now in place ensures that any planning applications that come through are marked whether or not they are liable for SIL, which does give us the opportunity to comment and consider what claims we may wish to make on any of those developments. This priority is obviously there now. We propose marking it as completed as monitoring continues as part of the planning applications when we're consulted. The second there regards the community transport initiative, and that is where we have funds in earmarked reserves which are held to support any community transport initiative. This derives from monies that have been obtained through developments in the north of the town to support the development of bus services, and have been used in the past to do that. And it's proposed that this priority is retained following, of course, Council's previous decision when we were looking at the budget, where you wish to ensure that, or express support really, and look upon any requests of this nature favourably in the future. So it's proposed that that one is retained. Hand it back to the committee for questions, Chair.
Thank you very much. So the proposal is to mark SIL as complete and to maintain the bus expenditure line. Is there any comments on the proposals? The recommendations are on page 17.
Sounds good to me.
Yes, I'd be happy to agree that.
Me too.
That the first one is complete and the second one should be retained.
Perfect. I will take that as general assent. I heard at least 3 people agreeing.
I agree.
Everyone agrees now, so that's perfect. Item 10 is master plan North Littlehampton. The assistant town clerk will provide us with an update.
Don't really have anything further to say following the steering group on the 9th of February, Chair, except that we are expecting more planning applications to come forward the latter part of spring, hopefully. Next steering group I don't think will be until May, but we haven't got a definite date yet.
Thank you. And that is item 10. Oh, Councillor Turner, sorry, question.
Councillor Buckland was going to give us an update on the Rampion 2 project following the meeting, according to the minutes from the last meeting. As he's not there, has somebody else got a summary, or are we going to have to wait until the next meeting?
The notes from that meeting, I believe, had been published, Chair. I'll speak to Councillor Buckland and we'll get something sent round. He did do a note which I circulated for everyone, and he asked me to circulate it to you all. Shall I recirculate that for the?
I thought that was a note that had been received from somebody else that he very kindly circulated or had circulated to us. Perhaps I misread it.
Yeah. He did ask me to pass on to members that note that was on his behalf, but I will recirculate it so that everybody can confirm that they've received it, Chair.
Lovely, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. Item 11 is exempt business, of which there is none. So at 7:20, I declare the meeting closed, and I would like to thank all staff for their support through the meeting and to members and the public for attending. If I could just ask members to remain quiet whilst the live stream is ended. Thank you.